Islam. How is everyone tonight? Greetings. So the folks on the call are all ready. Please excuse me. I'm trying to get everybody up here. Islam, everybody. Am I coming through okay, Rob? Okay. I'll take that as a yes. 40. Anybody was here last time I was here? My brother, Sister Carmen. So last week we went over what an emetic was. Do you remember, brother, what's an emetic? Oh, by the way, welcome to the health class. You remember what a emetic was? Okay. Yes. Well, is when you use that word purge. We would usually use the word purgative to purge, but a emetic makes you vomit. And a purgative helps you lose whatever's not needed in your body. Oh, thank you. Thank you, brother. We also went over the root chakra and the sacral chakra. Anybody remember anything about root chakra and sacral chakras? Were you here? Okay. Do you remember? Oh, you didn't do any studying. It's important. Okay. Right. Right. The root chakra is your foundation. It's your connection. Right. Raising their vibration, moving out of their lower self. A lot of people have an issue with that, and what that means is that not only are you living in your root chakra, but you live in it's fog, it's clouded. You're not living out of the full potential that you can live out in your root chakra. So if you're dealing with any issue of foundation, prosperity, just general things, health things that you come in your birthright, you need to do some work with your root chakra because the energy is supposed to flow harmoniously through those portals and those places in your life. Our chakras are our inner world and our outer world. Those are the chambers within your temple. And so today I figured we'll do a chakra a week because we have so much to cover on the chakras, and I want everybody to really understand how important your chakras are. You know, when you get to your crown chakra, that's knowing all of your chakras and the mysteries behind them. You know, each one of your chakras is really how you perceive your perception on what's going on in those places in your body and in your world. And so sometimes we need to alter our perception, change the way we're looking at things or how we see things. And that's really what it is. The same thing as how the brother could navigate and he got stopped twice last night by the policy officers, and both times the policy officers was like, oh, sorry to bother you, here you go, have a safe journey, you know what I mean? And between someone else being pulled over by the policy officers and then them being dragged through the mud and, kidnapped and tortured, and it's a big difference. And so what is the difference? How you perceive things. Do you really know that this is who you are and this is what it is? Or are you just going with the flow? Are you still just kind of like taking the funk and you still think You're still not sure. You're still guessing. You're not 100 with it. You know, it's still too good to be true because you can't possibly be this royal or noble. You know, it really subconsciously this is how we really feel sometimes, especially if, you know, we all came from a foundation that have, you know, a few cracks, you know, and we come out of those belief systems of not being good enough or coming out of lack, a place of where we're lacking, instead of fullness and abundance. Okay. So the first, I wanted to, and then the second half, I want to kind of just open it up as a discussion to what people are going through, because I do a few consultations, and I don't think people realize how deep the consultations is, because when we're working in holistic medicine and we deal with anything other than allopathic medicine or westernized medicine, the questions are different when we do consultations, and I don't think people think they don't take it serious. And so when I'm asking questions like, oh, okay, so, you know, tell me what was going on in your life when this arose, you know, when you got pancreatic cancer, what was happening 3 years before you got pancreatic cancer, you know, and those things, sometimes it takes consultations weeks to do, because people just, not to say that I absolutely need those answers, but it'll be good for you to like kind of like go back and think about your life before you was woken up to the reality of sickness or illness, or some people who don't wake up until those points. And it's important. It's important to be conscious at every moment and to not be afraid to travel back to places to get to know who we were before we were, so that we could figure out what the heck is going on now. Because who we are now is everything we did before now to make us, right? So it's important that we know these things. So I did a workshop in the summertime in Brooklyn, and today I had wrote out this whole long lesson, and I still wasn't feeling comfortable with it. And I talked to Sister Roz about it, and she was like, oh, those are the best classes. And I didn't ever doubt her, but I was like, oh, okay. And as I was walking out, my book bag tipped over, and I found the workshop I did in Brooklyn that I totally forgot I did this workshop in Brooklyn. And I'm like, yes, this is it. Because not only did I do this workshop, but I spent months creating this workshop, and it was something that was really close to my heart. And this is perfect. So the workshop is healing with herbs after institutionalization, right? And so I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to go over not the complete thing, but exactly what's going on in these institutions and how do you heal, you know? How do you not take on what's in those institutions? As a lot of times we'll go to take care of a ticket, or we'll just go to do something minor in these places, and we have to be subjected to a whole bunch of BS. we got to see our brothers, our sisters, and shackles and the drama, and we don't know what we're going into. When we leave, we feel like different people. I know that it gets stuck, but the trauma of those things gets stuck in my head. No matter what I go into court for, no matter what I do, when I leave out, my head is always like, ugh. Even if I'm wearing my turban, even if I have my chemo or have something, my head covered, I'm always just got energy stuck in my head. I don't know if I'm just always trying to figure out what I just went through, you know, or what's going on, but it definitely creates a lot of stagnation in our bodies, and stagnation turns into illness, you know, wherever it gets stuck, and wherever it touches you. You know, if you're going into a hospital and you're witnessing, or you're a part of some type of trauma where you're seeing something with a little child, or, you know, it could hurt your heart, you know, and the energy could be stuck right in your chest, and you're leaving, and what offsets that is the argument you get into with your partner, you know, and it makes it worse. But you're not really conscious that it came from, you know, you that little girl hurting your heart, that story, you know, what you've seen or what you've heard. Or my favorite, I'm very sensitive to how a lot of our parents even want to say parents, but you say these women, these mothers talk to their children in the street. That really gets me. That'll have me stuck the whole day. And believe it or not, that leaves something with us. And when already a lot of us are not whole, or not complete. So it leaves something with us, and it takes stuff away from us. And we wonder why we just can't get it together, all in all. Because when we look around us, everywhere we look, we see disharmony, dysfunction, and we get used to it, and we normalize these things. And we're afraid to elevate or be successful because we don't see it around us sometimes. So let's talk about some institutions. Can anybody name some institutions that you go through or go to on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, been a part of? So hospitals, the Brothers at a Hospital, like the hospital. Some of us work in these institutions. Anywhere else? Coming outside in the street, yeah, the street can be. Yeah. I have a better one. Let's say the hood. And I'm going to say the hood. I heard Dr. Who was it? I think it was Claude Anderson that said they call it the hood because the neighbors left. It's not a neighborhood no more. And so it's true. It's not an institution, but we see it out. Every day we walk in the streets and we witness things that we weren't ready for. Any other institutions? Prison. School. Yep. Military. Police department. And the court. They all of them are just as that. You can't really. They all are. The purpose is the same, right? The programs are in all of them. Yep. Your jobs can be institutions. Yep. What about like social services and welfare? A lot of people forget about that. And believe it or not, like you could walk out of there just as crazy as the people in there. It's so true. Anywhere else? Yep, that would be like the hospital. That would be in the hospital. So anybody, has everybody been to at least one of these places? Can anybody relate? Can anybody or remember? Or is anyone conscious enough to remember walking in or out of these places, walking out of it differently, with different thoughts? Right. Yeah. And where does that feeling? Where do you feel that feeling? Do you feel it physically?
I never been a resident like that, but just going to court and fight, bring the case, and then having to go there and come out and feel like you're drained.
Right, draining. So we talked about last week going into these places and some light things to do when you go into these places. You go in with like salt in your pocket. Salt is a really good. You can get white salt. There's also black salt, which is really good. Which helps keep all that stuff away from you. But what the salt does is salt has a purification, right? Sea salt, definitely sea salt. Like not no like iodized Epsom salt, definitely sea salt. You'll be able to ground yourself when you're in these places, and just to stay grounded. And you could actually, it helps you protect your aura. You know, to protect yourself while you're in these places, so you're not being compromised. So people are not pulling from you or throwing things at you, because you know people could throw things at you just through their thoughts, right? Who do they think they are? I bet they're in here for, you know, yeah, that person can't never keep an apartment, can never pay their rent, or whatever the case may be. You know, you're not walking out with those deep insecurities or those issues. So definitely have your salt. And after leaving these places, I had mentioned having fruit handy. Maybe I always keep like a couple of lemons or limes in my bag before I go in, or after I leave these places. I just take it and I wipe myself off. You don't have to cut the lemon, you have to cut the lime. You just wipe yourself off from head to toe, right? So all lemon and lime fruit, there's life. So you're actually taking the energy that's on your body that, yeah, I was like, you know, lemon and lime is very small. You can just throw it in your, I know for, you know, us women, we could throw it in our bags. You know, brother, you could have a little bag on you, could, you know, keep little things that you keep little things in. And so you're taking the energy off of you and you're exchanging it. You're giving it to like the fruit. Does that make sense? Yep. And so that's a quick way to cleanse yourself when you leave, because you don't really want to bring that. Say you go and you have to go visit your grandchildren or something like that. You don't really want to give that energy to your family members or just anywhere. You know, it causes, again, dysfunction in our home, and it becomes a mess. And then the mess is just everywhere. Then you become toxic person, a toxic individual. That's what, to me, that's what a demon is. Someone who is toxic, who refuses to fight, or who refuses to, to like really have that will to fight and overcome their darkness. So what they do is that they just spread it to people who are not protected. Okay. So we talked about these institutions in which affects us every day that we go into. So let's talk about some healing around it, some herbs around it. Can y'all hear me back there? You can hear me, Sister Carmen? You can hear me okay? Okay. So when you're dealing with institutions and how they can severely affect us, the parts of the body that they deal with, that those entities deal with, are just wherever it affects us. Again, like I get headaches, you know, it affects my head. You know, that's like circulation, oxygen. Brother, it may, I'm sorry, what was you going to say? It may, Where do you feel that at? Right. Yeah, that's the brother says that when he's in these places he feels like an air bubble. You said running around? Right. Somewhere else. Yeah, and that's interesting that you say an air bubble, because that's like the digestive system. But then it's also like you would also think about it as being it's like your lymph system. It's everything, but it seems like it's nervousness. Mhm. Right. Those are not natural. These are not natural places for us to be in. So our body reacts all different types of ways. To these things. So I have a whole bunch of herbs for just different parts of the body that I came up with that can be compromised, and whichever one that you feel that relates to you, because everybody feels the trauma in different areas. You know, you could feel it in your groin, you could feel it in your chest. I feel it in my head. Somebody else may be very extremely fatigued or have stomach issues. Someone else may feel very hungry every time they leave these institutions, or just a whole bunch of different things. And so I came up with herbs to help nourish the whole and restore the whole body, to bring the body back to balance after experiencing these things, which could be very traumatic for us. Okay. So the first one is motherwort. I think we talked about this herb. We talked about this herb maybe like 2 classes ago. Should do it in my. Motherwort is a heart herb. So what I like, I'm going to read to you what I wrote about it, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it the most. Everyone has no pens, no papers. Oh, yeah, I got a photosynthetic memory, right? Yes? Okay. Okay, cool. Well, motherwort is like the perfect mothering herb. This herb is great for emotional stress and anxiety. So why have I added this herb on here? Because sometimes when we go in these places, like the brother said, it sounds like a anxiety, maybe like a nervous issue or anxiety issue, and anger, and like I'm very sensitive in those places. That's where you see women angry at their children because it's just stressful, you know. So who we taking this out on? You know, when we come home and we working at we say someone is what do you call them, guards in the prison, right? And you got to deal with all that, and then you come home, and how you going to treat your children? How you going to treat your husband, right? And what are you doing to deal with that? So with me, it's about how how these parents, these so-called mamas, be talking to their babies. And so that brings me back to a time where where it made me feel a certain type of way. It have nostalgia about me growing up and how my mom talked to me. And so motherwort is a perfect herb for me because it's like it's the spirit of the mother telling you, wait, it's okay. You know, it's very calming. It's very soothing. It's like having your mom around. It's good for a weak heart. People who have heart murmurs, faint heart. It encourages that connection with your heart. It's very balancing. It's and a tonic. Of course, it's a cardiac tonic. So a tonic. Let me just because I don't think it was the brother here. You said you listened to the broadcast. But a tonic is something. It's a formula that you will put together that helps strengthen the body over a period of time. So you can make a motherwort tonic and take it over a period of time, and it'll help strengthen your heart, right? If you have any mothering issues, any issues in your relationships or just in general that comes from not having that mother or having like that weak relationship with your mother or just an incompleteness within you and your mother and that mother energy, motherwort could definitely help you in your life because it affects your heart. So in these times when you're having all these experiences, or say for instance you have motherwort in your cup and you go into court, you're in there and you'll be able to connect with your heart. You'll be able to hear your heartbeat. You'll be able to say, okay, this is what my heart is telling me. And the heart is like, we didn't get to the heart chakra yet, but the heart is a deep place. You know, the heart is where we find the courage to love ourselves, to receive love, to spread love. So sometimes all these people, the brother yesterday that got stopped, one thing that he had said by the policy officers, one thing that he explained to me and what I heard is he didn't come off to them from a place, from a place of like hate or anger. He literally talked to them like, well, this is what it is. And he was teaching them. And they were interested because he wasn't talking to them like sarcastic or rude or angry. He actually came out of a place of love and with a teaching spirit. A Moor. And so, he was very much. Say it again? Oh, no, the brother hasn't came in, but there was a brother last night who got stopped by the policy officers twice in one night. And, he's not riding around. He has his ID cards, his nationality cards. He doesn't have any New York State plates because, of course, we're not wards of the state. And so they stopped him twice, and he identified himself. He told them who he was, and he showed them what he had, and he explained to them. They kept saying, "Are you a sovereign?" He said, "Absolutely not. I'm a Moorish American." Yeah, the policy officers asked him if he was a sovereign citizen, right? And he explained to them. And as he was explaining to them, like he was teaching them, they were learning. They were like, "Oh, okay, well, you have a good day." And so, again, like sometimes, just like how your mom would stop you and say, "Wait, son, this is not how we do things. Do it like this, or do it like that, or explain it like this." Sometimes it's that energy that we need when we're dealing with in these places and dealing with these people. At the end of the day, we're all like, living beings who all have a connection. Yes? Right. 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 No fear. Right. And you don't have to. Right. Right. And it's the correct way. When you coming from a place from your heart, you know that like when you're younger and your mama tell you to do something and you don't do it, and even when you go to school and she go, if you don't whip that little boy's tail, I'm gonna whip your tail. Who you afraid of? You afraid of your mama, And so connecting to that energy is very powerful. I'm gonna go on about motherhood some more. So it's a relaxant. Of course, it would be a relaxant. It wouldn't be anything where you have to rush. The mother don't teach you to rush to do anything. You take your time, so you'll be nice and relaxed. It's a kidney restorative. The spirit of the kidneys is your relationships. So it balances out your kidneys, the diaphoretic, meaning if you have any kind of if you're infection in your body, overheated, it helps break that. And it's against anything, you wouldn't be able to take it if you're already on heart meds. So you would talk to an herbalist or someone who knows what they're doing about if you're interested in it, because motherwort is good for any ailment of the heart. So if you think this is for you, you would just talk about dosage and preparation to someone, a holistic practitioner, and how you would get off the meds and switch over to herbs. So motherwort is a good herb to have, to try out, and to take with you if you think that this is something that you need to connect with and this may be something you're lacking in your life. Because it's these little things which we don't think about. Sometimes we think it's another writ we have to write, or we don't take ourselves, like maybe it's my attitude. Maybe I'm not in the right spirit, What about astrologically? Maybe you're trying to do business on, maybe this is a Venus day. Maybe Venus is ruling this day, and you're trying to do business or something, or you have Mars energy, So we really want to align ourselves with the energy so that we could be doing things right, and we don't have a hard time doing this anymore with the things that we've been dealing with, especially because we have people who are doing it. This is not impossible. Rose is another one. A lot of us are familiar with rose, right? Well, it does make a difference on the rose. It, let me say it like this. It's really red rose right now. It's hard to get anything other than red rose. And it's really hard to get. Red rose is very expensive. It takes so many rose petals. I think it's like 1,600 rose petals to really make a rose oil. So rose is really hard to get. I mean, it's easy to get, but it's expensive, right? And if you do get it, it would really be like red rose or pink rose, unless you get the fresh roses, the yellow rose. Make sure they're not artificially painted. That's another thing. So when you're dealing with red rose, a pink rose, red rose, now if you want to get into the metaphysical aspects of it, red rose is very lusty. It's love, it's passion. Pink rose would be more for unconditional love. And it's the bottom of your heart, the deeper parts of your heart. Mhm. Huh? It is. Yep. The heart is a deep space. Mhm. Right. And then you have the in which holds the heart up. You know, the energy in which holds the heart up. So there's so many different dimensions. There's so many different dimensions that we live in. So, you know, what's inside is outside. What's outside is inside. You know, as above, so below. We just live in just so many dimensions in the space. So rose is very soothing. Rose is really good for stress. So I have read in my I think I went to actually there's a library of medicine here on Park Avenue. I think it's like 14th and Park or something like that. And before 28 is the School of Medicine. Okay. Okay. I'll get it. I'll remember it. And so if you go in there, you got to make an appointment, and like the books are very fragile. The books come from all different types, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s. And so we already know that, you know, before a certain time it was us writing these books and everything. And rose and lavender, anytime I think before the 1600s, every woman that wasn't married used the rose and lavender for stress and for healing. And so meaning like, you know, women were going through a lot of stuff out here. But this was like the herbs that women were using that were unmarried, because it's very relaxing, it's very soothing, it's very calming, it's very healing. It actually can bring your spirit back into your body. You could actually bring those pieces that have been fragmented back to you through trauma, loss, any type of trauma that we go through. And in the weeks before this, we broke those traumas down. Anything that could put you into any state where you're in a disease, discomfort, or dysfunction. Rose is an antidepressant, antispasmatic, meaning it stops muscle spasms, any kind of spasms throughout the body. It's a nutritive, meaning it's very high in nutrients. I don't have them on me, but I do have them. If anyone needs any of these things, you could definitely contact me. Peace to the goddess at gmail.com. Again, that's PEACE, the number 2, PHEGODDESS at gmail.com. So rose is definitely a heart and a nervous herb. So it helps, again, soothe the nerves. It helps soothe the heart. It helps heal the heart. Sometimes rose can be quite heavy for people if they haven't dealt with their heart. So I've known customers that I've had and people that I've dealt with that I would give rose to, and they would have some interesting experiences through the night, waking up and sweats and things like that, especially if you just never dealt with anything, right? If you never grieved, if you never mourned, if you just let things kind of go. Sometimes we think we're letting things go. We're not really letting them go. We're just pushing them down. And so Rose can kind of like, people who are not used to dealing with their feelings or their emotions, when you're dealing with Rose, you will see how those things feel. And they're not bad. We have to go through these things. You know, we have to face our fears. It's a part of healing. And so also Rose promotes self-love. So it's through these things that we can love ourselves. Sometimes we don't want to we don't want to feel the truth about things, but the truth is is the cream of the universe. You know, this is the mission. This is the goal. And so once you get to it, then you can find love. There's space in it for you. You are the truth. The next herb is dandelion. Dandelion root. Dandelion root and dandelion leaf are they have two different, they work differently. Anybody had dandelion in here? We take dandelions for granted. We take dandelions for granted, like we just walk over them and yeah, like OMG. Man, dandelion is a powerful root. It's very powerful. So in my experiences with dandelion, every time I need to get things done, dandelion is what we're going to talk about. It's that third chakra, the solar plexus. It's where your solar plexus is. It's the will, your purpose. It's power. It is. It's power. It's will, and it's purpose. I'm sorry, say it again. You can eat it in your salad. You can make. They sell it out and I would get it from any fresh produce place, or try to get them organic if you can. Okay, cool. So the root helps move emotional repression and stuck anger. Dandelion, thank y'all. Dandelion root helps move emotional repression and stuck anger in the body. The liver is where, I mentioned this before. The liver is when the liver gets overheated. That's rage. That's anger that you have. So if you feel like you're angry all the time or you're rageful, a lot of us, it's easy for us to hold that down, to keep it in. But as soon as we start cleaning our liver, poof, it comes out. But that's just the liver cooling off. And so it's good. If you've never cleaned your liver, the liver is what filters the blood. That's the powerhouse in your body, right? And so if you've never cleaned your liver, if you never cleaned that place that filters blood, then you still are walking around toxic. Your blood is dirty, and you're sick, and you need to detox, and you need to go to the bathroom. There's a whole bunch of things that comes along with that. And so dandelion is great for the liver issues, eczema and psoriasis, of course, hair, skin, and nails, the liver, the gallbladder. That's because once you start purifying yourself, everything comes out. When everything comes out and once you start cleaning and repiping your system, of course you're going to have beautiful skin. Of course you're going to have beautiful hair and nails and things like that, because now all those toxins are not in your body. Your pores are not clogged. So it helps keep you grounded. So dandelion is very grounded. It's very centered. So coming out of these places, you could be drained, you could be fatigued. Dandelion will put you back into place and pick you up, right? Of course, it's a great tonic. It's very bitter. I mean, it's great for bitters are great for the digestive system. It's a hypertensive and hepatic, meaning it's great for the liver and the circulatory. The liver and the circulatory herb. And it's, of course, a circulatory herb because it helps the blood in your body. It helps clean the blood in your body. And the blood is everywhere in your body. So if you've never had any kind of blood cleanser or liver cleanse, that injection your mother got when she was pregnant with you, you still have that. It's because your liver can only, there's 3 stages to your liver, and your liver can only break down medication past the first stage. So after that, it just gets recycled in the bloodstream. Yeah, it just keeps going through. Yep, and so that's why sometimes when we go on fast or we want to stop eating something, we crave other things, and we're like, I don't know why I'm craving this. That's because it's leaving your body, but you're so used to it, your body's trying to bring it back in when you're trying to get rid of it. Yeah. Garlic, yes. Yeah. The brother had said that he was speaking about garlic a couple months ago, and he's been using the garlic, and after he's been using it, now his blood pressure lowered. That's great news. That's good news. Garlic is one of my favorites. I always recommend people do like 4 cloves a day. I always get people say, oh, well, Dr. Sabi said no garlic. 4. The small, not the big clove. You can if you want to, but don't fully cook them, like lightly, very lightly. Like if you're going to, I would do them raw. And if you're going to cook them, don't put the flame up high, only a couple seconds. You just don't want to kill the medicinal properties from the garlic. Yeah. You could boil the garlic and use what you boil in whatever you want to cook. Yeah. Garlic is very good for lowering cholesterol, your pressure. Good for like any kind of infection, bacteria in your body, mucus. So people say, oh no, garlic is a hybrid, but garlic, if you look at the history of garlic, it came really when the Caucasoid came. So again, the earth is very intelligent. So it's gonna give us what we need when we get things that we don't, right? It gives us the answer. As soon as when we have a problem, your mind can produce a problem, your mind can produce the remedy to the problem. So that's basically how that works. Was that clear? Skull cap. We talked about skull cap too. Some other word. Oh, I didn't finish about dandelions. Dandelions, on my journeys with dandelion, not only do I feel like so much better, like my energy is a lot better. It's not like a quick pick-me-up, but it's very, it penetrates deep. It penetrates your liver deeply. So it works very thoroughly. So when you do feel the energy, it's not like a false energy. It's not like a quick energy and tomorrow I'm tired again. Like you have an everlasting energy with dandelion. So when you're doing dandelion, and you could do dandelion for as long as you want, again, I would do it twice a day, 2 or 3 times a day, and you could do it for the rest of your life as much as you need it. It just picks you up from a really deep place. So for people who are deeply tired, right? Not just looking for like something to just be up for the next few hours. While doing dandelion, I can go like, I don't need too much sleep. I'll sleep like 4 hours, and I'll wake up like I was sleeping 9. Like just very, very ready to go, very energized, very clear. And then everything changes. Anytime you clean your blood, and anytime you're dealing with any herb that's cleaning your blood, everything shifts. The people around you, your environment, the things that made you laugh before don't make you laugh no more. Things that didn't make you laugh, because now you're dealing with your whole self completely, right? Not bits and pieces of like that chicken that you had, that chicken's personality, or that lady that made your drink, or that nurse that gave you that injection, because all that energy is a part of you. And you're really moving around with all these different people within you, and their energies at that time, and they're working off energies that the people in their lives and things that they experience. This is how real it gets. And so sometimes we try to figure out what's wrong with ourselves. We're dealing with too many people, too many things, right? The next herb is, so dandelion will help you get anything. It's purpose, it's will, it's power. So when you journey with dandelion and when you connect with the dandelion, right, what ends up happening is that you don't want to talk to nobody really. You're like, wait, hold up. I'm doing all of this work, but what about my purpose? What about my goals? I forgot to do this. I've neglected this. I've neglected that. So if you have a mission or a purpose that you just can't seem to get to, dandelion will be great. It'll shut everything down around you. It'll put you in a place where you just have to focus on your mission and your goal, and it'll make sure that you see your way through that. And that's the whole so-called myth of making a wish. That's why dandelion has that power to help you make your dreams come true, because it puts you in that place where you have nothing to do but that. Okay, so please don't take the dandelions for granted. They grow everywhere like weeds, but treat them, like a rose. Depends on where. Yeah, the brother asked would we eat the ones, because dandelion is native here, so that means that is something that we need, right? So when I see things like mullein growing or ginkgo growing in somebody's yard, I'm like, oh, somebody's having some circulatory issues, some brain issues, somebody's lungs need to be open, and usually that's the case, and dandelion grows everywhere. So, we all need to clean our blood and filter our liver and clean our liver. Sis, you had a question? Yep. 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 Definitely, yeah. So, like we were saying earlier, like the liver is the powerhouse. That's where your energy. That's where you're gonna get your energy. That's the lighthouse of your body for energy. That's your metabolism. What's going on with your body? Are you losing weight? Are you gaining weight? Are you where you need to be? That's a whole nother story. But yes, dandelion will help you boost your energy, natural energy. Yes, brother. My favorite thing to do with dandelion, again, it depends on what you're using dandelion for, because there's a whole bunch of ways you could use these herbs, right? So I could give you dandelion for many different reasons. But with dandelion, I like to do dandelion by boiling the root. Boiling the root, unless you're using the leaf. The leaf is, yes. Yep. You would boil the root, and you would drink it 2 to 3 times a day. That's 2 to 3 times a day. That's the standard dosage for dandelion. It is bitter. If it doesn't taste bitter for you, that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah, it's bitter. It's a bitter herb. Mhm. Hmm. Yeah, it actually it's for any kind of liver issue. So what it does is filters the liver, it cleans the blood. So you have herbs that just clean the blood, but that doesn't um, help improve the liver. Dandelion is for the liver and the blood. Mhm. Yeah, you could start off one time a day. You know, start off so, especially for people who drink coffee. I think dandelion is a great coffee substitute, especially if you're drinking coffee for energy. No, yes, no. Well, if it's any tea that's not caffeinated, it'll be good. Any tea that's not caffeinated. So herbal teas are good. So what we're talking about, yeah, those are. Yeah, I don't even know what Lipton tea is. I have no idea. Don't drink no Lipton tea. No yogi tea either. No yogi tea either. No. Hold on one second, brother. So how you would do it is, most places sell the roots by ounce. So dandelion is a root, so it's heavy. So 1 ounce probably be about a week, maybe. When you have any root, you could boil it more than once. Meaning you could use it more than one time. You can get probably like 2 or maybe like a day of your medicine in from one tablespoon. Well, how big is the root? Well, it's usually how you would get it. They would cut the root up, so it would be smaller pieces of the root, and you would just take a tablespoon, and you could put it in. I don't know if you got a tea ball, or you could put it straight in the pot, or if you have a tea bag. You know, places now are selling those things. Yeah, again, the root, just the root. Now they do have dandelion leaf. Now, dandelion leaf is really, 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 it works more as a diuretic for like water retention, right? So anybody got excess water, dandelion leaf is amazing for that. And you would steep the leaf. We talked about steeping where you don't boil. Any parts of the plant that are very gentle and delicate, like the leaf, the flower, those types of material of the plant, you would steep it, meaning you would pour boiling water over it and you would cover it for about 10 to 15 minutes. You will always want to cover your herbs. Don't ever let them just boil out because some herbs have volatile oils, and that's like the medicinal and essential oils. And that's some of the medicine that'll just seep out into the air. You don't want that to happen. So always cover it. When you steep it, cover it for 15 minutes before you drink it. And so the leaf is amazing, amazing, amazing for anybody who has a heavy heart because as a diuretic, it helps take the water and clear the water from around your heart, which is actually very, very felt. Like you could feel that. And again, so for the root, we're talking about the root here, that'll help. Well, you know, the leaf also helps you feel happy because with all that excess stuff off your heart, you do feel a lot lighter. But yeah, so the root you would boil. Did that answer your question? Okay. Ginger? Yeah, well, we talked about ginger, but I'll talk about it. We'll just mention it back after we go through this. But yeah, ginger is a good one. It's a catalyst. Ginger helps move. I like putting ginger with like ginger, even motherwort. Yeah, if you have stagnant energy, if you have blood that you need to move in your body, or you need to move herbs through the body. Like so, for instance, if you put a formula together, you have to have a herb that's a catalyst that moves the other herbs through the body. Motherwort does that. Ginger does that. Cayenne does that. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll get into that later because that goes into formulary, like putting together formulas and what works, and what, you know, and how you would just put together formulas. So you would like You would always use either motherwort. It don't have to be just these herbs. There's a whole bunch. You can use hawthorn. You can use peppermint. Peppermint is a hot and a cold herb. You know, it just depends on that person's constitution on what you will use. The person's constitution, what they're dealing with. All those. There's so many things to take into consideration with that. But if you have any circulation issue, ginger, cayenne, motherwort, peppermint, hawthornberry. Like, it's a whole bunch of herbs that'll help get your body, the things in your body moving. Skullcap is the next one. We talked about skullcap a little bit. So skullcap, again, there's so many ways to use skullcap. We talked about skullcap. That's my favorite nervine, right? Nervine is a nervous system restorative. So just you hear the sirens outside, whether we know it or not, we're used to that. But right now, that's doing something to your DNA. That is doing something to your nerves. It's affecting your nervous system. And because our nervous systems are affected, it prevents us from healing, right? We got to restore our nerves before anything can. Sometimes you could take so many herbs and nothing is working, right? You feel something, but what you want to happen is not happening because our bodies are so uptight. The medicine can't penetrate, right? So how do we relax? How do we get our muscles to relax? How do we get our organs to just breathe? You know, we have to restore the nerves. We have to bring herbs and bring things to our body that encourages our body, encourages our nerves to trust it, right? And so skullcap is great. Skullcap not only does that, but skullcap can hold a secret, right? It's not going to, like, say, for instance, a dog bite you and that dog had rabies, right? Skullcap will stop it dead where it is, and it won't allow that rabies to spread, right? Because rabies end up going to the brain, in mental condition. Skullcap stops all of that. Skullcap is for people who can't sleep at night because they're overthinking, right? Skullcap, this is the name of it, skull, cap. Again, it's another one. It's really brilliant. When I take skullcap in the morning, I usually take skullcap in a tea where, again, I need to get things done. And when you're in institutions, any of these places, and if you're taking skullcap, nothing around you exists, really. Like, it's like a very meditative herb, right? It's like very etheric. To me, it's very, very etheric. At the same time, it's very protective. It doesn't just restore the nerves, but it protects the nerves. So it's really good for stress, headaches, arthritis due to stress, fright, drug and alcohol withdrawals, of course. Restores and soothes the nerves. It's a nervous tonic, antispasmodic, galactagogue, meaning it's good for women who are nursing and who need more milk to nurse. And you would not, and it's good for anxiety and if you need to sleep. You wouldn't take it if you're already on antidepressants or anything like that. Again, if you want to take it instead of the antidepressants, you would definitely, again, speak to someone who knows what they're doing so they can prescribe you the right dosage of skullcap. Next, so these herbs are categorized for nervous and like heart, right? People who deal with things in their nerves and deal with things around their heart when they're dealing with life, right? Because this is our reality that we're living, right? This is what we choose to do. This is what we will do, what we're doing now, to be here and to go through this, really. Now we talk about immune system herbs. So elderberries, we're almost out of elderberry season. Elderberry season you would do, but this is the beginning. You have enough time for next year, let's just say. Elderberries is great it's a preventative. So it's like, I call it the herbal flu shot. So you will never get sick if you do elderberry. If you do elderberry in the wintertime, elderberry syrup, you only have to do 2 tablespoons a day. You won't get a sniffle. You won't have a cough, you know, and none of those things like that. It's extremely powerful. It's packed with vitamin. It has like more vitamin C than like 30 oranges, natural oranges. It's an antidepressant, of course, because vitamin C boosts the immune system. Anytime you boost the immune system, is antidepressant. You know, that's why we're depressed. Antiviral is great for viruses, infections, and great for respiratory infections. And you will only use the flowers and the berries. Elderberry spiritually is really connecting to Father Time, right? Or like it's like the grandfather energy, right? It's very protecting, you know. The grandfather always passes down. He's the griot, right? So when you're connecting with elderberry and when you're taking elderberry, herbs don't just come with just healing again on one dimension. If you're conscious, you'll start to see other things in your life happen. So it'll be a good time. Those are good times where you'll be tapping into some of them ancestral things. You know, a good time when you're doing elderberry to maybe sit down and do your family tree. You know, because that's when those energies will be open and you'll be open enough to hear and receive that type of information, and others around you will be open to giving it to you, you know, such as family members. Sometimes we have family members that don't even want to give us that information. Elderberry can help with that. Echinacea. Anybody has, I'm sorry. Well, how did you take the echinacea? What did you take it for? Okay, well, echinacea. Echinacea is not like something that you would use as a preventative. So a lot of people take echinacea like they would take elderberry, right? So elderberry you would take to prevent you from getting sick. Echinacea you would take it when you're sick. It depends on no, not really. It depends on the dosage. The brother asked, would you take echinacea on a daily basis, right? No. Again, it depends on the dosage, and it depends on what you're going through, right? And it depends on what they're putting echinacea with. You know? Somebody told me the other day, somebody called me, a sister called me, and she's like, every time I eat, I feel nauseous and da-da-da. I'm like, well, maybe you need to detox your body. And she's like, oh, well, you know, I do echinacea all the time. And I'm like, well, why are you doing echinacea? And I'm like, and she's like, oh, because, you know, my mother taught me when I was younger, echinacea. And so sometimes we just get used to taking an aspirin for our headaches. So, you know, from when we were younger. And so now we take aspirin for every time we have a pain. Even though, you know, someone said the aspirin didn't work. You know what I mean? So the correct way of doing that would be like echinacea, again, is if you're sick right now. Or if you want to, I do echinacea and I do golden seal, probably once a season for about 10 days. I think that could be a little bit too much, but I have something else going on with my blood. If just for a regular, normal person, I would do the echinacea and the golden seal. I would do the echinacea when you're sick, or if you feel like you have some type of virus or something in your blood, you need to get something out of your blood specifically. But as a regular detox, or it could be a good immune stimulant, but sometimes that's not what you like. I don't know. Did you diagnose yourself? Did you just? Okay. Right. Yeah, yeah. You, yes, it's not. Sometimes it's not. Not everything. Maybe that's not what you needed. So it sounded like they were trying to give you something just to keep, because sometimes people put it in immune formulas to stimulate the immune system. And so, yeah. And I'm also big on, like, just what are you putting in capsules, too? Because some herbs are not just, to me, a lot of people are just doing so many just different things with herbs. Like, they're putting all different types of herbs together. They're putting herbs that belong in tinctures and capsules, herbs that belong in capsules and tea. So you just got to be careful. Do your proper research. Right. Right. Yeah, definitely research what you're looking at, and make sure that's something that you need, because it could be you could hurt yourself. But yeah, echinacea is definitely something for in the moment. It's not a preventative. You wouldn't take it to stop anything from coming. Um, you would do it if you have some type of throat infection, infection, virus, uh, just any kind of like flu-like symptoms, candida. It helps clean, the candida out of your blood and out of your body. Yeah, yep. The next few herbs I want to be talking about are carminatives. Carminatives are, most of the carminatives are herbs that are in our kitchen, right? So that's like that ginger you was talking about, brother. Herbs in your kitchen. Ginger?
No, what's that?
Oh, carminatives. I'm gonna tell you. Carminatives are herbs that a lot of them are in our kitchen, great for digestive system, right? So some of us go through trauma where we can't even digest our food properly, or we have digestive issues. We can't let them out, can't let it go. There's a lot happening in just that whole midsection of our body. Just a whole bunch of stuff. Intestinal, and the intestines really like align with the liver. Like it's all like stuck anger, that's not being dealt with, being suppressed. Colon, bladder, all of these things, your esophagus, all these things, carminative or herbs in your kitchen can remedy. So some of us don't even know that, like, we have all this medicine in our kitchen already. You could start there. So let's talk about, and so one thing about carminatives, I don't know if anybody eats Indian food. Anybody eats Indian food in here? Yeah. Yeah, just Indian food with the spices. And so a lot of the Indian food, they put a lot of carminatives in their food because they know that you really can't, it's hard to digest meat. So since it's hard for our bodies to digest meat, we're going to put in herbs for the digestion. We're going to put in some turmeric. We're going to put phenols in there. And those herbs help stimulate the digestive system so that you can digest the stuff that we really can't digest. I think that was pretty smart. Like, I don't know, when I was first started studying medicine, and I'm really like, oh, I get it. I understand the science behind them using all of these spices and these herbs in their food, because this helps you not be backed up, you not get sick or anything like that, because they're using medicine in the food. And so and also, who else does it? A lot of peppers. A lot of, the Mexican people, they use a lot of hot sauce and lime in their food. That's why you don't really see them, like, they could drink all that stuff. They don't really age, Yeah, cooking with herbs could be very, could change your life, actually. It could save your life, especially if you don't want to stop eating certain things or help you, or to transition the way you eat. It would be good to implement a lot of herbs. So some of the herbs that'll be good to implement is like fennel. Anybody have fennel in their kitchen? Fennel. Yeah, you probably have it, not even know it. Anybody heard of fennel? Okay, fennel is a digestive tonic. So again, it's a tonic, something that you could do for as long as you need to, and it'll just help your body, help strengthen your body. It'll help the digestive system. Yep, you would do. Fennel is, it's a delicate part of the leaf, so you would steep it. So fennel helps you stabilize blood sugar. It aids digestion in fatty foods. That's why you see it in a lot of the Indian foods too. It's great for fasting, and it's great for acid reflux. What about cardamom? Anybody heard of cardamom? Cardamom pods. They come in like a pod. No, it's kind of like very like fennel. Yes. Yep. Yes, fennel does kind of look like celery. So cardamom is an antispasmodic. So anybody that's in pain, or go through any kind of like people who are cold, cold people, cardamom will help warm you up. Yeah, it's a stomatic, really good for your stomach. It's really good for your digestive, for flatulence. Carminatives are really good for anybody who goes through those type of digestive issues. It's a kidney tonic. It strengthens the bones, the heart, the lungs. It aids in depression and celiac disease. And if you have ulcers, you would do it in small dosages. Celiac is a digestive issue. It's kind of similar to Crohn's disease. Those are autoimmune digestive issues that affect like the stomach and basically for people who have like the acid has really destroyed the digestive tract and the lining of your stomach. Therefore, you got a whole mess in your body, your digestive. So that's for people this is what happened to me. I was getting sick, but I'm like, I don't eat anything bad to get sick. Why am I still getting sick? That was because my digestive system was all messed up from the acidic foods that I had in the past. And so what happens then? The acid then burned my digestive tract, so now when my food is being digested, it can't properly absorb the nutrients out of the food, so I wasn't getting that stuff that helps my body to protect itself when invaders come in to fight and help me not get sick. I didn't have that stuff because with the acid destroyed, it just stayed like that. So it's good. Probiotics are good for things like that, like probiotics. Anybody heard of? Yeah, so I'm explaining to you why cardamom is good, and with celiac, all those and Crohn's and all those diseases really stem from that, and that it's really an emotional disorder. Mm-hmm. Somebody had a question. No. Peppermint. Peppermint is one of my favorites. Because peppermint is like it has two faces, Like you could use peppermint to be hot or cold. It does it both very well. It switches up really good. Got a heating condition or you got a cool condition in your body, you could use peppermint for any condition. through hot flashes? I'll get to that. I'll get to that soon. Peppermint, it relaxes the nerves or it stimulates. So if you are doing too much and you need to relax, peppermint will help you relax. If you need to be stimulated, peppermint will help you be stimulated. And that's what I mean by that hot-cold thing. So it's great for digestive issues, mental alertness and mental functioning, so it's good for the brain. And of course, you wouldn't use peppermint if you had acid reflux, right? Peppermint is also good for prosperity, like they even peppermint, and if you have like rodents in your house or whatever, if you put peppermint oil on cotton ball in the corner, it works like a charm. Yes? Yes. Carminatives are usually good. Carminatives are usually good for gas. And those are really like the herbs that we cook with. So all the herbs that we cook with, 9 times out of 10, they're great for gas. Again, that's how the herbal kingdom is so intelligent. Circulatory herbs and how they could be beneficial. So we have herbs all around us. Like, it's just what you're looking at, like what you decide to look at when you're walking down the street. You know, you could look at a weed or you could look at the dandelion. You know, you can see it as, you can see it as whatever you want to see it. So cayenne used to be one of my favorites. I know everybody is like kind of familiar with cayenne right now. Of course, cayenne is a catalyst, like I mentioned before. Cayenne gets the blood going and acts as a circulatory stimulant, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. It's good for dementia. I used to carry cayenne around because I think I said it before, cayenne and yarrow. I did say this last week. Pepper. Yes. Yes. Yep. Cayenne stops bleeding. So it stops the bleeding internally and externally. You know, that we talked about it energetically being great for like internally, like what could be bleeding internally. Sometimes people, anything that's broken, cayenne is great for a broken heart. Those things, they're real, you feel them, but it stops bleeding. It's great for circulation, any arthritis, intestinal bacteria, varicose veins, and it's really, really, really good for high cholesterol. Yeah, you could do that, but you would put it in water. No, and drink it. Yeah, because what it does, like what the cayenne does, it gets things moving, but it loosens up the veins, like right in the muscles. Like it tells the body, like, look, you can keep going, but you don't have to be hardcore. So it allows you to be more flexible instead of like forcing your body to do something and forcing your mind and forcing things. Cayenne helps you flex. Move without force, moving with just by flexing, being flexible. Ginger, the brother back there. It was the other sister. That was you? No, one last class, the class before, a sister brought up ginger. That was you, sis, right? Yep. So we talked about ginger being another catalyst that gets things moving in your body. Ginger is just good. Ginger is powerful. Ginger is, like I said, ginger is power. Ginger can aid is a stomatic, which it can actually help relieve any kind of stomach ailment. Temporary, if there's something more going on, you would definitely, it's something different. But if you know it's like a stomach ache because of something you just ate, or because of nervousness or whatever, that's very temporary, ginger helps aid that. Ginger helps with high blood pressure. It also helps stop bleeding. Let me take that back. Excuse me. It doesn't help you stop bleeding, but it's also good for high blood pressure. It helps with circulation, circulating the blood around the body. Anytime you feel like you have poor circulation, any of these things, ginger, cayenne, any of the catalysts, motherwort, hawthornberry will help with your circulation. It's a ruby fashion. A ruby fashion is something that will help heal wounds. So say, for instance, I punch you or you fall, and you have like this, the blood came to the surface of your skin. Ginger will help heal that. You would just drink the ginger. You can make a compress. You know what a compress is? So anytime you see a herb is good externally, you would just take that herb. You could add some water to it, or you could even like steep it. Just take that herb, put it in. You don't have to steep it. You don't have to do all that. But you could put it in, wrap it in some kind of cloth or sachet or something, and just put it right on wherever it is. Like comfrey. Comfrey. We talked about comfrey last. We talked about your root chakra and your structure, and how comfrey. You could just put comfrey on any broken bone from the outside, and it'll heal the bone inside. Comfrey root. Right? Yes, sis? My mom used to do the Humphreys. Teeth, yeah, for teething. Yeah. The sister's talking about Humphrey for teething. Yes, definitely a old school. Now we're gonna go into our reproductive herb, brother. You talked about menopause and things like that. So for women who are dealing in this system and navigating in both realms, and they already got a lot going on. We already got a lot going on, but if you're in that space in your life where you're going through menopause, it can get a lot harder. And so usually when women come to me and they say, look, I need help, I had these hot flashes, and they go and tell me the story, the first thing I ask them is like, because one time, I think this was like my first customer, she was going through, she was actually one of my friends, and she was going through these hot flashes and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I got something, I'm going to give you some herbs, and da-da-da-da-da. I gave her some herbs. She wasn't having hot flashes or nothing anymore, but she had got her menstrual again, right? But she was upset. And so I always ask women, I'm like, okay, a healthy body is a fertile body. So I always let women know, well, you may not get hot flashes no more. You may not feel the same way you feel, but you may have your menstrual again. So I always like tell them, look, this is what happens. There is no other way. If there was another way, we need to find out. I mean, it's either you do have it or you don't have it, and there is no other option. Yes, brother. Yes. So he asked for herbs for men who can't perform sexually. I'm just gonna throw those herbs out there for you. Always like that one. Always like American, and usually you don't just throw herbs out to just any particular person because everybody's different. But American ginseng works well universally. American ginseng is good, or Coldinopsis. Coldinopsis is like the poor man's ginseng. Astragalus is good, but also horny goat wheat. Fill it out for you. horny goat weed, and tribulus. And the reason why I say those, because those help men. They don't just help men be aroused, but they actually help your gland. They help improve your whole everything. This is hormonal. These are it's not just giving you that whole. What does the men take? Viagra, right? It's not gonna just give you a quick 6 to 10 hour or whatever it promises to do to you. This is gonna actually help your hormones. Another one that's good is ashwagandha. That's the Ayurvedic herb. That's amazing. It's amazing for men and women. But the woman's part to this would be shatavari. Shatavari is so ashwagandha is very hormonal. It's great for balancing, right? So wherever you are, whether it's you're low in estrogen or testosterone, wherever, it's going to balance it out. The ashwagandha, 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 ashwagandha. Horny goat wheat, hornegoatweed, and tribulus, tribulus, tribulus. Those are great for hormonal, for men who are going through any hormonal issues or reproductive issues. If anyone's dealing with issues with their prostate, saw palmetto is a good herb to research and start off with. SAWPALMECCO, saw palmetto. And we'll definitely break these herbs down another time. These herbs are going to continuously come up until we know everything about them. But it's just so many different ways you can come at a herb, and the actions and properties, the pharmaceutical constituents. There's so many different ways to come at them. I would just want people to actually just get a feel on what's out there and how to connect to these things, start their basic research on them. And how you would come at a herb. And so today this is really about herbs coming out of institutions, herbs that are good for that. So going back to the reproductive system, red raspberry leaf is a brilliant leaf. Red raspberry is not just for the reproductive system, but it helps you nourish the whole body. It's just very nutritive. It has so much nutrients in it. When I don't just drink red raspberry, I make an oil. I put it over my whole body. I always share with people because it just feels like a skin drink. It's very high. It's like a multivitamin with itself, fat and nettles and alfalfa. It's just loaded with so many minerals and vitamins that you'll never feel fatigue. You'll never feel like you're not taking care of yourself. And that's really important. I always ask people, how are you nourishing yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? I could ask your brother, he's not looking. Brother, how are you nourishing yourself? I want everybody that's listening on Blog Talk, I just want them to think about, I want you to meditate on this question. How are you nourishing yourself daily? What are you doing to nourish yourself? Yep.
Every now and then I'll spaghetti once in a while. I don't do it every day. So I'll try to drink more fruits and vegetables, eat more salads, that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's good. And the question is, how you give into yourself in a whole way, right? And in a holistic way. And what do you give into yourself in a holistic way? Not what you're taking away from yourself, not what you need to stop, not what you need more of, but what are you giving yourself that's of some substance, that's actually doing your body justice and good. So yeah. And in all ways. It's not just by what we're eating, but what are we watching? What are we listening to? What are we getting ourselves caught up in? A lot. Yeah, some of us believe that just because that we're doing justice by eating well and we're writing our writs and we're listening to Roz and Sister Ani E. But then we get caught up in some crazy places, and just because we're not saying anything and we're not really caught up in them, we're still in these environments, right? And we're still listening to these things, we're still watching these things, and then other things will happen to us, and we're like, I don't get it. I do everything good, but these things are happening to me because you are taking in toxic things. You may not be displaying them intentionally, or you may not be trying to move or act on these things and in these ways, but you just don't want to get caught up in places that you supposed to be vibrating in those places or at that level. So let's not fool ourselves or trick ourselves anymore. I see that happen a lot, right? It's just so interesting. Let's be where we're supposed to be. So the reproductive system, red raspberry. Red raspberry is an astringent, which is very important. Like an astringent, okay. So our tissues are important. I can tell, like, sometimes we're fatigued, but it has nothing to do with our will. It has nothing to do with the things that we would think it has to do with. Sometimes our tissues in our body are broken, are soaked, and fluid, don't have enough fluid in them, and so you'll see it in somebody's, like, how they stand, how they walk, that they may look lazy, but it could just be that their tissue has too much fluid in it, and so they need astringent herbs, right? Herbs that's going to tone the muscles. The muscles and the organs are just like not toned, right? Like kind of like someone who just had lost 200 pounds and now the skin is just flabbing. Yeah, your organs can be like that. Your tissues could be like that, So red raspberry, that's the importance of having herbs that nourish ourselves, our bodies and our organs, because it helps tone at the same time. And then our bodies don't feel so heavy. One way is detox, but then after you detox, then what? You could be filled with a lot of water, right? Red raspberry is a good laxative. It's great for extreme menstruation, reproductive issues. And how it works is like it works over time. Red raspberry is something that you would just drink over time, and red raspberry just helps you clear up your life. It helps you put things in perspective. If you could do 3 months, at least 3 months of red raspberry, you know that you're off to a good start. Whatever you're trying to finish or whatever you're focused on in life, it's a really good foundation. Like it's a really, how you feel how red raspberry makes me feel, or how it makes just general people feel. It feels like you've done all of your work. Like everything is done. And now you can move forward, right? It fills you up. Say it again? Yeah, that'll be a good, it feels very clear, You're very full, you're very nourished, you're very satisfied. And chaffberry, which is Chasteberry is more so for women, or Vitex, this is a very interesting herb. Chasteberry. And I'm going to add Damiana too. I think Damiana even may be on here. Did I put Damiana on here? I put Damiana on here. But Chasteberry and the brother that needs to hear that asked the question last. But this is for it, like Chasteberry Vitex is good for any. This is what I gave the sister with menopause. This is what I usually give women that are going through any serious issues with their reproductive organs. Is Chasteberry Vitex. Vitex actually reverses the harsh shifts that we've had in our womb area. It just helps you get back to who you truly are. It's Castberry. Or Vitex, Vitex. That's another name for it. So it's an aphrodisiac. Of course, it's the same herb. Yep. Also, red raspberry is, want to let you know, is really good if you have any issues with your eyes. Like I have a really good eye wash that I make with red raspberry and calendula. Because it clears things. It's like the water coming in and just washing everything away. But then it's that clear, that peace. Everything is clear, everything is new, everything is solid, and you full. Does it make sense? Like the ocean. Like living next to the ocean is very serene. And I'm working on the same thing. I'm doing eye bright, but also calamus. Well, calamus, the brother asked for his eyes. Calamus root eye bright is really good. But there's something else. There's something else that I used to use, but it's really good. Just let me think about it. But calamus is really good for any eye issue. Anybody going through? Yes. A little bit of cayenne, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, you could do cayenne because it helps with circulation, and so anything that's going to improve circulation to the brain is going to help you with your eyesight. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of carrots. I don't know if it really. I don't know because I'm not a big fan. I don't even think that carrots do too much, to be honest with you. You think? Okay. Yeah, I stay away from like those types of like hybrids. Yeah. So I don't. What we talking? Okay. Vitex, Chasteberry again. Female glandular tonic, meaning it's good for all the female glands and hormones. Great for PMS, bloating, digestive issues, headaches. It's a libido balancer. Great for infertility, fibroids, endocrine issues, and low estrogen. Someone from online had asked, drinking heavily on the hold on, can you speak on? Okay. So let's just, before we finish this, matter of fact, I'm going to finish this and I'm going to speak about since we're talking about the liver, just talking about alcohol and drugs, we talked about this last week, addiction. I'm just going to mention it again. So these next couple of herbs I'm going to give you is respiratory herbs, which is important because in order for us to let go of the past stuff, it's very, very common for people, especially people that I meet. It's very common for people to come in here and come in with a lot of, now emotion is not bad, it just depends on where you're placing your emotion. And so a lot of people come in here very emotional, and that emotion gets in the way from them making clear decisions on how to handle things, right? And they can't get over the past, and they're just so into like relationships and things they don't want to let go of, and they're not making making just the connections they need to make to get out of the situations that they came in here for, right? If that makes any sense. So how do we let go of all of the drama? That's what it really is. Through the lungs, through releasing, like waiting to exhale, which is not really just like a movie or that Terry McMillan thing. It's a real reaction in your body that when we exhale, a lot happens. You know, when we're born, what do the doctors do to get us to breathe? You know, to get us to like exhale, to breathe in and out. Like that's the first thing that we experience coming in life. So in order to let all that stuff go, you must exhale and you must let go all that old stuff and breathe in something new, right? Some of us really, really, really are holding on to old air, right? And it's the muscles in our lungs are tightened because of it, and we're unable to move forward in our lives, which Pisces have really hard times doing that, right? So if I'm talking to anybody who are Pisces moon, Pisces rising, Pisces sun, this is for you. And just people who have a problem letting go. Yeah. I don't do astrological charts, but I do spiritual readings. Yeah. And I am familiar with astrology. So Osha root. Now, Osha root is a sacred herb. I don't know if any of you remember, but when I say sacred herb, that means that's an herb that's really not being harvested right now, right? In danger of being endangered. So you would really, with all herbs, you always just want to take what you need. You know, it's not something where you want to stock up on. You never want to do that because you may not need that herb later. And you want to save some for people who do need it because a lot of our herbs it's hard to get them. So Osha root is one of them. Osha root is a sacred herb. It's hard to get. Again, I do have it in stock. It's really good for the lungs. So what Osha does, it helps, it's an expectorant. It helps you release all the mucus out of the lung and from around, the phlegm from around the lung. It also is very clearing for like the throat and in the head area. It increases oxygen in the blood. It's an antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and it's good for any kind of like fungal infections. It calms the muscles in the respiratory tract, and it's good for protection. So what I mean by protection, I love to give Osha root to people who have like really. I've gave Osha root to a lot of people in these classes, and it's an interesting thing. So it's good for. It helps you with. Other than that, the spiritual properties is dreams. It's a protector. So the bears, when bears come out of hibernation, the first thing they do is they find Osha root. The bear is the animal totem, and they chew it up, they swallow it so it can clean their lungs, and they spit it on each other and clean each other off. And then they go into the season, right? So the animal totem of the Osha root is the bear. So it's like when you put Osha root underneath, it's great for children. If you put it underneath your pillow, it's like there's a bear in your room sitting there, right? And so how it helps me is that I'm always dreaming. I have so much activity in the dream world, so it's like that bear sitting there, so nothing comes in. I'm able just to sleep, to rest. I'm not like having any kind of dreams, no type of action. I'm just getting rest. For some people who don't dream, who need to dream, it shows you what's going on. But it speaks your language intuitively about really showing you what's going on in your world, too. I gave a piece to a massage therapist the other day, and she called me. She didn't even, like, I didn't even offer her any kind of words because I was just listening and hearing her out. She was like, this is happening, that is happening. Like, she has 2 older sons. She's like, for years they've been, just everything that has been holding her down, she was able to see what was happening and how she was living unprotected. Because that bear is going to point out things like, yep, this is why you're tired. This is why you're drained. This is where those dark circles are coming from underneath your eyes. This is where all that energy is coming from. This is where all that. So it shows you everything that's going on with you and how and it shows you how to protect yourself. And it'll communicate in your dreams like really flat out. Like it'll show you flat out, vividly, what's happening to you without you being disturbed. It's great for children because how it works is that nothing is able to come into that area where you're sleeping, nothing bad or nothing that would like give children nightmares. And it kind of like switches the images in your head. So when I do it, I'll put it I wrap it in my head and put it on my scarf, and I usually see like everything that I don't like to see. It's first off, it becomes animated, so it's not like scary anymore. And then the pictures will just turn into something that makes me laugh, right? So it's just a very magical plant. But that's because it brings it helps you release all that stuff that you need to, right? And so then you can start perceiving things a lot different, right? It opens up that space in your world for new air. So it's I'm going to write it down. It's called Ocean Root. Yeah, it allows you to like really understand how to protect yourself, but overstand how to protect yourself. Another one is mullein. Mullein is a native herb to here. Mullein is growing. It grows everywhere. It's an expectorant. Again, anti-cancer, nervine, good for the lungs, good for bronchitis. It's good for painful, dry cough. And it was used by the native people, by us, to protect against bad dreams. As you can see, a lot of the lung stuff is good for dreams, right? And it's good for protection. Mullein also helps people who are not open, just open up, right? People who just do the same things over and over again or who live very linear. It helps them just like, if you look at, if anybody knows what the mullein leaf looks like, it's like these really big leaves and they're just like open, right? And that's how they grow. When they're growing, they just open up, very beautiful, very big and very beautiful. And that's how it helps you. That's how it works with your lungs, right? For people who have lots of I want to say hardship in their lungs, right? Damage to their lungs. It helps the lungs just breathe, just kind of like open up and do what it needs to do, which is important. And then we talked about oat straw. And so lemon balm will be another herb that we could discuss. Lemon balm is like the herb to me, like for the mothers. It's for everybody. It's also a herb that's native here. It's a herb that's used for numerous things, so as a digestive aid, as also for antidepressant. Lemon balm is a moon herb, so I would say it's really good to like make a lemon balm tea and put it in the moon and let it sit in the moon. And when you drink it the next day, it's as if you can't get enough of it. Like you just keep drinking it and drinking it and drinking it and drinking it. So it's a thyroid regulator. It's really like a balancer. It's like lemon balm. It's a balancer, especially for nerves. Helps calm you down. Helps just balance just everything out. Like if you had a rough day especially, and I ended it with lemon balm because at the least, if you ever just get lemon balm, right? If you have to go, say you come from work at the hospital and you got to go see your son in the prison, you got to go pick up your other daughter from school, and then you got to take care of something at the police department. Let's just say you just did the whole thing in a day. At the end of the day, you deserve a cup of lemon balm. Okay? At the least, if you have anything, get you some lemon balm because that'll just help you just chill out. After, like, taking a sea salt bath or whatever, or during, say, have some lemon balm. It just regulates everything. It balances you out. Yeah, it's great. It's great for before going to sleep. It's just a great transition from anywhere, right, for anything. And it's kind of like chilling with the stars. And I mean like the stars in the sky. That's why I say put it with the moon energy because it works well with the moon energy. Lemon balm, it would be like or a set, It's like at the end of the night, you just want to mellow out. You want to take it easy. You want to relax. You want to hear yourself. You want to breathe. You want to be able to go to sleep without overthinking, So, yeah, write that down. Lemon balm. That's LEMON balm, BALM. And the last thing is about, it was requested that we talk about, and last week we talked about addiction, and we talked about, herbs that'll help us break certain addictions. First thing is, like, you definitely want to have the will. Without the will to do these things, everything is what we will, right? Nothing is like, oh, I got to do this. Even if it's for somebody else, it's because you will to do that for somebody else. That was your choice, right? So with the will to clean your liver and to break addiction, you would first definitely want to calm. Now, you could clean the body. You can go through the the liver or the nervous system. I always say the nervous system because, again, like when we're dealing with these addictions and these traumas, it's not just the addiction and the trauma. We're in the lifestyle of war, right? Like you're in war. We're prisoner of war, and this is what has you doing all these different things. And so you want to calm the body down. You want to tell the body it's okay. You want to connect your heart, your mind, and you just want to connect everything at once so that you could be in that place to be like, okay, what am I doing? Right? You don't want to just shock your liver with all these herbs to clean it out because the liver, when you cool the liver, things are coming out. Your anger is coming out. That just makes you want to drink more, makes you want to smoke more, makes you want to get high more. So you want to calm, you want to restore the nerves. So what are some good nerve restoratives? Restore the nerves, and you want to deal with the mind, right? You want to replenish your mind and your brain. So I like St. John's wort for the brain because what St. John's wort does is it helps. Anybody heard of St. John's wort? So people say it's a mood enhancer, but what St. John's wort does, it helps you reprogram new patterns, like rewire your brain to new patterns. And so usually when we're dealing with things like this, we're dealing with a soul loss. Parts of your soul have been lost. And St. John's wort can actually kind of help you just rewire certain things so you could find that part, or you can come to this understanding like, wait, I'm missing. Wait, hold up. This is to have those epiphanies on why this is happening, right? So that you can move forward. So St. John's wort helps you change your mood about things. It kind of like turns the light on. That makes any sense in your brain. And then to work on something for your nervous system. Again, skull cap is good. Any herb that you work with, I always suggest that you do the skull cap. When you do the skull cap, to do it at least 3 months. You may feel a difference in 3 days, but you want to get it in your system. And hot teas work better for issues like this. Tinctures, you ever heard of a tincture? People do tinctures. They're in the capsules, the vials. Tinctures go straight to the blood. Those are for things that you have that's going on right now. Not for anything that's been happening for a period of time. Teas help, and they go through the digestive system, and they work. They work slowly, but they work thoroughly, right? So when that shift happens, it happens. There's no going back, right? Unless you will to do so. So some good herbs for nerves to help calm your nerves down. Skull cap, valerian, passion flower. Hops is good, especially for like alcohol. Hops is good because it kind of gives you hops. You have certain beers that are made out of alcohol, and that's that estrogen. It's the estrogen that people are really like their bodies need, and they think that they want beer, which is interesting. Definitely, like exercise is important for people with addiction and community. People who are dealing with addictions need a community. Like, they need to be supported. That's like the biggest thing. Like, that's why all of us are going through what we're going through, because we don't really have a solid community. And it's really up to us to do it, We don't have to force ourselves in any situation or in anybody's crowd or team. Create your community, Who is in your community now? Who are the people who are part of your community? And what do they do? I want everybody to write a list of 8 people in their community. Put it on their refrigerator. And people that they need in their community, and, fill it in with Jane and John or whatever, and call those people into your life. Meaning, like, people that's going to support you on this journey. No, I'm listening. Mhm. Yeah, into your world, into your life. Yeah, like, so how can you help, like, for instance, someone who's going through diabetes? We talked about this before, or anything that's any autoimmune deficiency where everything. I can't even separate that from anything else, because we all need community. You need but I'm going to use diabetes, because people with diabetes, they're very they lack love. They have it, within them, but this is why they've ignored all the signs in their bodies of their bodies going into overload, because they're so busy trying to replace love by eating things that turn into sugars, that they don't even notice that they're damaging themselves. And so the very thing that caused this is the very thing that they need in the beginning of it and at the end. And it's that support system. Yeah. Mhm. 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 So yeah, it could be so many different things. While we crave those things, like it could be deficiencies, it could be old memories. My niece, she's 22 years old. She don't want to listen. She's insulin dependent diabetic. She's only like 110 pounds soaking wet, you know. But every year around this time, she's in the hospital at the same day every year. And that's something that her body, that's a memory that her body is holding, right? So whatever happened this year, 6 years ago, it's been 6 times on this day every year that it happens. And she has to go back and she has to revisit that and she has to correct those things, you know, through visual meditation, you know, through talking it out, through working it out, whatever she decides to do. But sometimes those things come from those, you know, eating late at night, or because it may not even have anything to do with that. It could, again, it could be a memory, you know. It could be loneliness, you know, like right now it's late at night. You know, I'm by myself. You know, I need some love. So a good way to substitute those things is, you know, teas will work. Maybe some mother work be good. You know, motherwort, that's the first herb we talked about. That'll sweeten up the heart. You know, that'll bring that whole energy of mom around, some of you up. It's time to go to bed. Got to get up early, you know. You know, use these herbs. Use them to help you. Use them to help you. But other than, for people with addictions, other than, you know, starting off with ritual and ceremony, meaning like cleansing and relaxing the muscles, relaxing the nerves, relaxing the body, then I will go towards cleaning the liver and the blood. And then that's when you can clean the liver and the blood. That's when you can use burdock root, dandelion, yellow dock, chickweed, really good. Red palm oil actually penetrates the liver really, like, that works better for me than burdock works for me. Red palm oil. A lot of people can't take it. I do a tablespoon, 2 days. A lot of people can't take the taste. It don't got to taste to me. I do it. Just drink some water afterwards. I'll be good. Coconut oil, yep, a spoonful. The red palm oil, that's like the bomb. Like that red palm oil, you'll be glowing. People looking at you like, "What? You came back from Jamaica?" You know, because it's not only is an antioxidant and cleans the blood and it cleans the liver. It also kills the body of infections and disease and all those things. So, red palm oil, I would cook with it. I would do it twice a day. Yeah, all this stuff, like, you could get, the red palm oil is like an oil, but it's not like an oil. Like, it doesn't look like an extra virgin olive oil. It's like this red, like a red butter, you know, kind of. It's not that thick either. Yep, you can get those from, like, the grocery stores, like, you know, like maybe Fairway or Whole Foods or something like that. You could also get it from the African stores. Because red palm oil is really big in their tradition just in general. Yes, sis? You always get your herbs and powder? It depends on what herbs you're getting. Like, some herbs is good for powder. Maca, golden seal, those are good in powders. Yeah, those are moringa. Those are good powdered form. Right. 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 It just depends on what herb it is, because certain herbs you can't powder. A lot of them. Like, a lot of herbs. Like, you wouldn't want to powder, like, ocean root. Like, certain herbs, you have to get the medicinal qualities from boiling it. Some of them, they're not water soluble. You know, milk thistle, a lot of people take milk thistle. Milk thistle is not water soluble. You have to use straight alcohol for milk thistle. So then you think, okay, well, why can't I take it in powder form? Because what are you going to put it in? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to put it in your oatmeal? You're putting it in your water? Guess what? You're not getting anything out of it. So certain is just, Okay, myrrh's good. Yep, myrrh's good in powder form. Yeah, golden seal is, we talked about that last week too. But golden seal is good to get in anything out of course, out of the blood, any of the viruses and antigens, and it cleans the blood. I do golden seal twice a year, and I do it 10 drops. Well, I mix it with with Cape aloe, and I do 10 drops, so if I do the capsules, I do 10 days of the capsules 2 times a day. But that golden cell gets rid of all of the bacteria and the colon, and it just helps get rid of all that old bacteria and infection. And rather than actual pepper. Yeah. I'll tell you the truth. I feel like it'd be a lot better to do it in the powder form unless you're growing the cayenne yourself. But I think, you know what? I don't know why they do that. To tell you the truth, with the cayenne. Golden seal. It depends on when you order the golden seal too. Like golden seal, I usually get it out of the powder form, but if you was to get like the whole, it'd probably be a lot more expensive. Because golden seal is expensive anyway right now. Yeah, because it's a sacred herb right now. It's a lot of herbs that's that's in danger of being endangered. Yeah, it is recent. Yep. Right now, like golden seal, it's very expensive right now. Yeah. To get real golden seal, I know a place in Brooklyn that I go to. She gets all organic. Everything is like wild crafted, and her golden seal is $21 an ounce. An ounce. An ounce. Yeah, because you know why? Because since Dr. Oz, you know what I mean? He'll throw certain things out there. Everybody runs to the stores and go and gets them, and now you have all these big businesses going into our sacred spaces, over harvesting, just pulling the herbs out of the ground, killing the spirit of them. These are lies too. And so when the herbs like, look, y'all taking advantage, I'm done. I ain't growing no more. So, yeah. Any questions? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let me see if I have any questions online. Anybody would like to do the prayer? Oh, wait, one question. Yeah, I would do something for the nerves. So I always suggest before you even cleanse, unless you've done that already, or unless you can do that, I always suggest, just because we live in a city and we live in a stressful environment, I always suggest that you relax your nerves first, that you do something to restore your nerves. Other than that, it's hard for anything to penetrate, You'll be too uptight, and you just probably have to come around and doing it anyway. Fibroids. Now, fibroids is, I think somebody asked me that last week. The Vitex is really good for fibroids. Also, cramp bark. That's if fibroids with pain or whatever. Cramp bark helps break up that stuff, like the mucus and stuff like that. Also, Damiana. I did say I wanted to speak about Damiana. So, when we don't take charge and we the creators in our lives, we still create something, right? And so when we don't create life, we don't really put our purpose or put our best foot forward and will something better into our lives or go with that whole, with this, when we hear ourselves like, okay, you're supposed to be writing right now, you're supposed to be doing this right now, you're supposed to be painting, you're supposed to be doing that, all those years and years of not doing what you wanted to do, and creating those things and birthing those things, that's what they turn into, you know? Fibroids and cysts. Cysts is very emotional. That's the emotions of you not getting it done. You know, oh, I could have did this, I should have did that. You know, oh man, he messed up my life and all this other stuff. Like that's the energy of the cyst being birthed. You know, fibroids too. So Damiana, Chasteberry, acid Chaste Vitex helps you just how the Vitex works. It kind of reverses all that stuff, right? On all levels, psychologically, mentally, you know, emotionally. That's why Vitex, they say in other countries, a lot of women who that's supposed to be virgins, when they get married, they bathe in Vitex because supposedly, and they take Vitex because supposedly it's supposed to restore your hymen back. So it kind of like, it reverses all of that for you. And it rids everything. Yeah, it does. That's why when I had my friend take it for her menopause, it brought her period back. You know what I mean? That's how herbs work. You know, when you do faux root, you know why it makes your hair grow long and your nails grow long, because it reverses the aging of the heart. So now your heart thinks it gets younger, right? So your heart is like, oh, you know, I'm younger now. I don't have all of that stress and the stuff that was weighing me down, because it helps you release that stuff, and now everything is growing. Like, that's how it's working in a very natural way. It's not forcing your body to do these things. Damiana, same thing. When you take Damiana long enough, you start to love that part of your body. You start to feel the sacrednicity of that part of your body, to where it gets rid of anything that doesn't belong there. It's kind of like going into your house, cleaning it up, painting it up, feng shuiing it, getting everything you need, and being like, forget you, I don't need you no more, and throwing everything else you don't need away. You know, this is my temple. I want it to be good. I want it to smell good. I want it to look good. You know, I'm finally comfortable in it. And everything that doesn't serve me or doesn't fit with it has to go. And so Damiana is really good for fibroids too. Damiana, cramp bark, Vitex. Also, and it's a lifestyle. It's not just about taking those herbs. It's also about, what I notice about women with fibroids and just fibroids in general, they don't know how to stop going, right? They don't know to put their feet up, you know. It's hard for them to really be gentle on themselves and be lighter on their feet, right? Castor oil packs. Castor oil is great. It helps break up like scar tissue and fibroids and cysts. Castor oil packs. What you would do is you would get a cotton cloth, and you would put castor oil on the cloth, something square. You put it in the oven for about 5 minutes. Put it over your stomach. I'll put like a plastic bag or something over the plastic bag so that the oil don't get on anything else. Over the plastic bag, you put like a heating pad, or I usually do a jar of hot water, a mason jar, on top to keep it warm. You lay down for about 45 minutes to an hour. You may fall asleep because it's extremely relaxing. But the castor oil decongests the whole pelvic wall of mucus, breaks up those fibroids, helps the digestive system. Like, it's amazing. So, like, doing these things, getting into a daily routine of yourself, helps break up these fibroids. It helps with digestive issues. So it can help with respiratory issues, because everything is linked. You can. Yeah, yep. You could put it up on your lungs. You could do the mullein as well. The mullein is really good. The osha root is really good. You could even burn the osha root. People will breathe better. Yeah, people with breathing problems tend to be angry. Damiana, Damiana. Mhm. Yeah, 'cause they can't breathe, right? Yeah, they don't got no air, so they got a lot of heat. Yeah. 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 Yep. Can't be always. Yep. Any other questions? Okay. One more. Allergies. Seasonal allergies. Is it like allergies to like? Mhm. Mhm. Food allergies. So don't eat them. Don't eat those foods anymore. Sometimes our bodies tell us sometimes it's not what we're supposed to be eating anyway. You know, like I'm allergic to shrimp and all shellfish. Those are scavengers of the sea. I could do without it. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad I'm allergic to it because I don't have no cravings or nothing for it. You know, it's better for me to be allergic for it. It's my body naturally telling me that this is not what you need. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes we need to adapt to what's going on, and that's what we need to do. The adaptogens. We talked about adaptogens and how. Yeah, uh, that's a lot. That's interesting. I would definitely check like what you're cleaning your sheets with, your blankets with, what's going on in the space that you're in. You know what I mean? Maybe you need to like. If that came up like that, maybe you do. He said move out. Know something. You know something more. Mhm. 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 But you could definitely do things like humidifier in your room. Mhm. Mhm. Sis, you had a question? Mhm. You got a what? Peanut. Mhm. Yeah, peanut allergies. Mhm. Because you know peanuts have this phylic acid, not folic acid, but phylic acid. It's the acid around the peanuts, the cashews, and so anytime we eat like these nuts, you always want to like soak them, right? Um, and I soak them in either sea salt water or apple cider vinegar overnight, and so that our bodies can actually get the nutrition from them. Like other than that, it's just going to cause inflammation in your system. It's not going to do nothing. It's going to get stuck and caught in places that it's not supposed to be. Yes, brother? Mhm. Yeah, it could be because of that phylic acid. Yeah, peanut butter. It could be because of that phylic acid. Mhm. I'm going to close out. Brother, you could do the cross care.
Allah is Father of the universe. Allah is Father of the universe. Father of love. Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. Allah is my protector. My God. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Also known as Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Amen.
Thank you. Islam.
Wake up everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead.